What's going on, guys? Welcome into episode 92. First of all, thank you guys so much for being flexible with us and joining in on the off time. That's 100% on me. I know everyone is surprised that I jacked up the timing of the show. Everyone's floored and can't believe it. But yeah, it's my fault. And a special thank you also to Buff for being flexible. What's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, dude. Good to be here.
I am, by the way, joined by our resident weapons expert, DMZ aficionado, Call of Duty man himself, Buffnerd Gaming. How's it been going? We'll get into it later, but how are we, like, initial thoughts on the beta right now for MWIII?
I like it. I definitely have some criticism with some things, but I think overall, looking at it, I think it'll be a good game, especially in the long run if you're looking at like Warzone and other modes. So I think they iron out some things specifically from the beta. I think it'll be a pretty good multiplayer experience.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to get absolutely crucified in the comments after we talk about my opinions on it and stuff. I look forward to reading them, guys. We're definitely going to get into that on the show. We're going to start off by talking about the Battlefield player numbers and what that means for the franchise. Really surprising and pretty standard. I talked a bunch of shit about it last week, and then now they're doing really well. So that's how my life goes generally. We're going to talk a little bit about, I didn't get a chance to watch Buff's video about DMZ leaks yet, so I just kind of wanted to talk about those with him on there and what's going to happen with that mode moving forward. The vast majority of today's episode will likely be our reaction to the beta. There was more additional content this weekend, the open beta. I was able to play it. I got quite a bit of time in playing Search and Destroy, which is my favorite mode. And then we'll end the show talking a little bit about the Activision Microsoft deal and what all that means. So we have a lot of stuff going on and a lot to talk about. I did, though, like usually before we start getting into the topics and stuff, we got to talk about what we've been playing and stuff like that. And I'm not going to lie. I got a little bit back to the beta. No, this will be a little bit of a forewarning. The beta kind of pushed me back to play Rainbow Six last night on stream. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't take any shit from anybody. Came back, I played well. We went, in our ranked matches, we went 6-1. Our only loss was like a sketchy player that may or may not have been cheating. So I feel pretty good about that. Rainbow Six felt good. Man, yeah, I was feeling good last night. It's something about like the weather's cooling off outside and it's like fall, and then you go into Rainbow Six and the Doctor's Curse and the Halloween event. It's like my favorite time of year is fall. It's starting to be hunting season, thinking about bow hunting. Like it's just my favorite time of the year. And it was like really cold and dreary and windy outside. It's like the perfect cozy evening to sit in and play video games with your friends and just settle in for some Rainbow Six. And like, I was in my element last night. Like something about this time of year, cooling off. We got new shooters coming. The Halloween events going on. Like, this is just my favorite time of year. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Fall's good for sure. Except it gets a little bit too dreary in my neck of the woods, but it is what it is. I'm used to it by now. But yeah, definitely. I've just been rocking the beta for the most part. I did jump back and play some DMZ on and off a little bit last night, just because I was having that itch. But yeah, pretty much just all COD focused is typically all it usually is.
Yeah, that makes sense. Being that's what your channel's about, you're probably hitting that pretty hard. Yeah. There's gonna be like that lull, right? Like after the beta's over, nobody's gonna want to play Modern Warfare 2. Like
yeah, well, the thing is, like, you do have the Halloween event, so there's gonna be nighttime maps and nighttime DMZ. I think will be really good, but yeah, the only reason I'll play it is to try and get to that Shadow Company skin. But other than that, it's just I think the night mode will be pretty cool. But yeah, I mean it's tough because I've done just like there's like really nothing else to do. You know what I mean?
I feel like especially for the Warzone community, people have not been favorable on like the current state of Warzone. So and they have to wait until like December for the new stuff for the integration with the new Warzone stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really
it's gonna be real rough.
It's gonna be really rough. Yeah, so I guess the first thing we'll talk about is the Battlefield player numbers. Very surprising. We have to start off with the caveat. The reason they are like this is because it's a free to play weekend. And again, these are Steam numbers. It is a free to play weekend, and also it's like 80 some percent off, whatever that comes out to. It's basically $9.99 US dollars in the US. So it's really, really cheap. And I know they had it for free for PlayStation players for a while. I don't know if that's still the case. I'm not super tuned in with the PlayStation stuff, but it was free for PS Plus members. So huge discount, free weekend, and they ended up breaking their all-time peak player numbers over on Steam. And then with looking at the Steam numbers, then comes all the caveats with that, right? Like, this is just Steam. This is just doesn't include the EA app on PC, and it doesn't include consoles. But that's a really, really big number. Especially, I was surprised with the open Modern Warfare 3 beta going on, having that for free to be able to pull these kind of numbers was pretty crazy to me. It surprised me. What about you?
Yeah, definitely surprising. It's even more surprising here that there was a free PlayStation Plus version of the game when I was the idiot that paid $100 for the like big edition
Yeah.
when it launched. But unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely. I mean, it's good to see the numbers that high. So that's like no matter how much I think we criticize Battlefield over here, we still we want it to be the game it used to be and can be and was supposed to be. So it's good to see those numbers. Hopefully, hopefully it's not doesn't go to like the company's head and like, oh, okay, like we just need to do more of what we did with this game. Hopefully it's like, okay, cool, we hit this milestone, free to play, all this and that, discounts, but they still need to get away from whatever they did with this title because regardless, it pushed everyone. Especially seeing that you said it was like $9.99 with a discount, which is just unheard of because like years after Battlefield 3 came out, like that was still a full price game for a long time if you tried to like get it at GameStop, So it's wild. I remember they did that with Battlefield 5 too. Battlefield 5 had really bad numbers, and it was basically they were giving it away within a month with discounts.
Yeah, I think essentially that's what they do. Like, just depending on how the game is going, if they kind of pull this or not to bring people back. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. There are already a lot of people checking out Battlefield, and I think they're going to find a game that's really not that bad to play. I actually played. I played the new map over the weekend. Shout out USA Specialist. Played with him a little bit. Battlefield content creator, friend of the program. And it was pretty fun. The new map is what I've been asking for a long time. I thought they were going to put.
Nice.
I thought they were going to put like Metro or Locker in Portal. But this is just a lot like Operation Locker with the two central areas, the flank routes.
Yeah, that's
it's
what
all
the map overview looked like.
It's all infantry. The specialists make it not as fun because people are spamming that kind of stuff. It's kind of annoying, like spamming all the abilities and the explosives and all that stuff kind of make it not as fun like what it could be. But it's pretty cool. It's probably, and I haven't got a bunch of playtime on it. Probably my favorite map that they've done so far, just as an infantry player, not having to worry about tanks, just focusing on fighting. And also, it's got a really cool vibe to it. It's one of the first maps that's actually had like a personality to it, like a feeling to it, like I don't know what the right word is, but it's just got a cool vibe to it with like the setting, like the vegetation areas and like the artificial dome. And then the underground tunnels with the pipes and stuff are really cool. And then it's got like, they actually finish it out. Like the art team was able to actually finish it under, not like the launch maps that, how you go into a room, they're just like boxed out bland and empty. Nothing. So it was cool because it's just the art team felt like they had enough time to finish the map. And you could tell like it had really cool stuff that goes along with a little bit of the lore with like, the human experimentation, like the bloody gurneys and the weird lab areas and stuff. Like cool. It was just cool. So well done to the map team finally for getting a good one. I think. But what's going to be the most interesting to me about this whole entire situation is seeing how many players stick, right? That's going to be the telltale sign of whether it's there or not. But I think at the end of the day, it's cool to see this many people back to playing Battlefield because, like you said, we're super fans of the franchise, and we've said it on this show. We criticize the game a lot. We're really hard on it, and not because we like to be dickheads, but because we want to see it do well. And FPS gaming as a whole, we've said this time and time again, FPS gaming as a whole is better when there's a good Battlefield to hang out on and have fun.
Definitely, dude. Definitely. So like especially the amount of times like my playtime on Battlefield 3 was disgusting, and Battlefield 4 is literally the only game I played on PS4 up until I think Black Ops 4's Blackout. I played a little bit, and then I still went back to Battlefield 4, and then like really when I actually started making another game is when Modern Warfare 19 was coming out. So yeah, it's like I love Battlefield. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting to see what the numbers look like within the next week or two. But to your point, I know Justin in chat also was really telling me he was liking the map too, and it does look really good. And I think, part of me really wants to go back in and see how the game feels, which I might do at some point because it does look good, especially the trailers. Like they do a great job with the trailers.
The trailers are insane, yeah.
I think I was watching, I don't know whose gameplay I was watching, but yeah, the map looks awesome. So, and the weapons they're adding, they're doing a really good job. So, we'll have to see what they end up doing with this, with not only the remainder of this game's life cycle, but also going into the next Battlefield, which I'm sure we'll be hearing about probably, within the next 7 or 8 months or so.
Yep. And yeah, I guess the thing from this entire situation that I'm most hopeful for is one, that this keeps them supporting this Battlefield until the next one. Like this. Yeah, this amount of support that people have shown gets them to be like, okay, well, we can keep supporting this until the next one, and not have just a complete and utter like drought of nothing for a long time, like happened when they killed Battlefield 5.
Yeah, I think they should definitely, like you said, maybe add some things to the portal here and there, whether it's maps or keep adding more portal weapons and vehicles, things like that would be cool. Anything they can keep doing, I think would be nice.
Yeah, just to
we get the new game down the road,
just to keep some fresh content into it. Even though I'm still of the camp that there's still not enough playable content in this game. Yeah, I have a video coming out about it, like after this podcast is over, talking about it. But I essentially said maps are the content for this game. It's Battlefield, and they are the Battlefield. So like that's what keeps people playing, is having different places to learn and play on. And, having one map for 4 months isn't going to hold people. But from this whole thing, I hope that this shows EA that there is enough of a Battlefield fan base that still are interested in this franchise to keep supporting this one until the next one. And most importantly, I hope they learn to get the game here before you launch it, to get it so we can start from this point and then build from there, rather than have to get another EA earnings call where Andrew Wilson is like, well, we're going to have to, it didn't go exactly how we planned on launch. And DICE does a really good job at fixing things and bringing, like, we don't need that again. We don't need to hear that, we got to start fixing it and get it back to where it should have been at launch. Like, we just can't do that again.
It's been like that forever too. I remember, so for me on PlayStation, Battlefield 3, I never had problems with on PlayStation. Battlefield 4, notorious for problems, and that's something I definitely noticed on PS4. And they've just kind of repeated that ever since. It's always just been issues. But yeah, they need to really, it's almost 2 years since launch at this point, right? And
really close to, next month will be 2 years. Yeah,
man, that is wild. That's crazy to think. But yeah, they exactly. The game needs to be in a state like this when it launches. Imagine if the game came out in this state with all of these maps and content that there is in the game right now. Then you have a solid base to build from, I feel like. So
yeah,
definitely 2 years to get to a point where you're getting player numbers and there's good content, good maps, things like that is just crazy. So, hopefully that's exactly, they definitely need to just release a good game next time that's finished on release, and not have the bugs, all this. And I mean, the bugs and things like that, server issues is what it is. You're always going to have that, I feel like, but content wise, game wise, like, yeah, it needs to be in a much better state. What we're seeing here is what they need to be releasing.
Yeah. Like, super best case, like dream scenario would be this game with this amount of content no specialist, and a server browser, and that's how it launched.
And rent a server. I would, yeah, and
Yeah.
rent a server to that, because like that's the replay value right there in my mind. That's how you get clan games, things like that. And you can customize your servers for different maps, your own playlist, ticket counts, things like that, and that's what gives you the replay value. I think that's one of the main reasons I played Battlefield 3 and 4 so long. It's like you can only play the core game so long before, you know, the rent of servers just mix it up. You can play these huge 2 hour long games with these massive tickets if you want on good maps where you're just having a blast for 2 hours. You know what I mean? That's what we used to do in Battlefield 3 and 4. So I think that's a big part of the game that they're definitely overlooking. And it's weird we haven't seen that since. I don't think we've seen rent a server since 4. I don't believe. And again, that's replay value right there. That's your clan games, all of that. That's where we would do all that back in the day. So I think that's another really a core Battlefield feature that they need to bring in at launch also.
And I would argue that people's in the community's attention span is even shorter than it was back then. So like having a lot of playable content is vital to
Right.
keeping the game going.
Yeah.
And I don't want it all to say, because I was really critical on the game last week, talking about like the map count and one map for like a 4-month season is just bullshit.
It is.
And I'm saying like favorable things about the game, but I want to try to paint a picture of my position. The game should have launched like this: perfect world, no specialist, server browser, rent a server, like having that, and it launches right now. And then if we had 2, maybe even 3 maps at the start of a season, and then like a season reloaded a couple months later with 1 more map, like to trickle it a little bit, but have more content and have about the same amount of content we used to, we would be chilling. Like we would be in a really, really good spot with Battlefield if we launched with this many maps and then had close to what we used to have. Maybe it's not doable to have 4 maps anymore. I can't imagine why, with all the new tools and everything that's available. I'm not a dev. I guess I'm not supposed to comment on that, but I don't understand why we can't have the same amount of maps we used to. All that to say, we also need to keep this in context. We're really excited that they could be potentially supporting this until the next game with, Twitch Prime leaked a bunch of stuff, Prime Gaming, about how there could be like season 7, 8, and 9 for this game.
Yep.
Let's not praise them too much, because if you think about it, they're taking what we would have gotten a DLC, spreading those maps out over 4 months, 1 map every 4 months. If that's the case, we'd still be playing Battlefield 1. Like, because it had like 30 some maps. And if you take those out and only release, so you used to have 4 maps in a season. If you took those out and released 1 map every 4 months in Battlefield 1 season would last like over a year. So let's take a step back. Like, we're moving in the right direction. I really hope DICE and EA learn from this and what they need to do with the next game, because I've kind of moved on mentally to what are they going to do next.
Yeah.
But we also have to keep in context just how abysmally low the content is for this game. I don't know if that all makes sense.
No, I mean, I completely agree. And to your point with the maps, like, I think bare minimum that they should be doing, especially with the way they touted about the portal and everything. I think bare minimum we should be getting 2 good maps per season, and then like you said, for a mid-season, like do 2 remastered maps. If it's you have the portal, why not bring in 2 remastered maps, not just for portal but for the main cycle of like the rotation and the core game. Just because, I mean, you have so many maps to pick from, and I think a lot of the maps people love going back to play those old. They would bring back remastered maps into Battlefield 3, into Battlefield 4 for DLCs like that. Like, people love those maps. There's some iconic Battlefield maps. So the fact that they really haven't brought any of those back and they're just focused on the 1 map per season. Again, we don't know what how many developers are supporting the game, but they did all that with the portal, and it seemed like they were going to support the portal. So with such going have to go back and rework the maps and everything in the low 1 map per season of the new maps. It would have been nice to see maybe remastering a map or 2 per season. However, I'll say it's like, again, with their player counts or where the game was, did it make sense or does it make sense to support it that much? That's what we talked about early on. Like last year, that the rumors it was operating on a skeleton crew. I don't think that's true given what we were seeing with some of this, but it could be. I mean, clearly you don't have all hands on deck at this point. I think a lot of folks have moved on to the next game to develop that, but That just goes probably that it wasn't worth the effort to remaster maps or bring in more maps where the game was, how it was received, player count, things like that. So now the player count's up, and there's rumors of maybe in a couple more seasons. I'm curious to see what they end up doing, if anything's going to change as far as content wise.
Yep. I would doubt it. I feel like they took the post-launch maps that they had planned and just said, you know what, if we do one at a time, we can support this game for a really long time, which it is what it is. I hope it's better next time, and I hope from all this they're learning where a game needs to be before it launches.
And it's frustrating I agree. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it's frustrating too, because the way the game was marketed and the limited gameplay we saw, I know everyone was kind of concerned, like, we haven't seen much gameplay, but like the way they marketed it and the early gameplay that they did show, like, so promising. And especially given where the state of Warzone was at the time, you know, they had a golden opportunity, and I really wish they just delayed it, pushed it back a year or something, because they just hurt their reputation, I think. And it's really, you know, I don't know, this would be a separate topic for another show, but like, what would they have to do with the next Battlefield to bring back, you know, a lot of the core audience that was turned off by this title? Because there's definitely things I'm looking for the next game too. But
yeah, and I mean, you can even with the early gameplay stuff, you can even tinfoil hat that shit and be like, they knew it was broken and they knew what players actually wanted, and they showed us the right snippets to get everybody excited.
Definitely. Of course they did. Yeah, you're not 100% agree, because what they showed looked awesome, right? And then we got hands on and we were like, oh God.
Yeah, what is
Yeah.
So it didn't make any sense. So no, they did a good job of hiding it. They knew what was up.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunate, but I mean, you're not going to be like, hey, look at our crappy product that you shouldn't buy. You know, they're going to dress it up best they can. So it's an
old build. Don't worry about it. It's an old build.
Yeah, I forgot about all that talk. Between the beta and release, they're like, just a little more time in the oven, guys. No worries. All that stuff is fixed, you know.
Yeah.
But what else are you going to say? So it's not, you know, it's not the developer's fault. You know, that's EA management, DICE management. That's the developers have nothing to do with it. It's they're doing what they're told to do on the projects and the sprints and all that stuff.
Yep, I agree. But no, it's cool to see that many people playing Battlefield, and it's a really good window for them, because like I was talking about in the intro, it's like there's going to be a lull right here.
Yeah, but exactly
between the beta for COD and the next time when it launches in November, there's like a month lull here. So Battlefield has a little window here to shine and try to impress people and bring people back.
Oh yeah, and especially with the trailer just replaying in the back, I'm like, damn it, I might try it. I might try it. I'm fighting the urge, but I might. I'm probably gonna do it.
You got some downtime, like till Modern Warfare 3 releases. Might as well.
Right?
Yeah,
might as well.
Try the new map. Try the new map. It's pretty good. It plays pretty good. They've made some good gameplay changes too.
That's good. Yeah, I'll definitely give it a go, just because I mean, the marketing team top notch with the trailers.
Oh yeah, the trailer team is fire.
Just like I don't want to be super disappointed if I do jump. I feel like I will, but as long as, you know, we'll see.
But yeah, no, that is true what Carrera is saying in chat. Like, everybody's excited on it, but we have Battlefield 2042 has a mini COD cycle built into it every season. Like, it launches and people like the new maps, and it's so starved for content. People get a map and they're like, this is awesome. Like, it's great. And then this has to last until like January.
Yeah.
Like, and then it goes down and then it's like a mini COD cycle built into this game over the years. It's where people excited and then pissed and then excited, then pissed. And then, yeah. So we'll see, but it's going to be interesting to put a bow on this conversation. It's going to be interesting to see how many people hang around and for how long with these player numbers. And I hope that DICE learns that they need to launch a finished game, and they need to launch on with a lot of maps, because maps are the Battlefield. Yeah. All right.
Great.
Cool. We good? Next?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. This one you got to fill me in on. What's going on with the DMZ leaks? Because
so this,
I got to know.
Yeah, this was I just did a quick video on this yesterday. So one of the data miners on Twitter, I linked him in the video. I don't know if he was the one that data mined it or just reposting it, but it's on Twitter. I couldn't show it in the video, obviously, but there is he data mined the loading screen for Modern Warfare 3 into like you're loading in DMZ. So like DMZ in Modern Warfare 2, but it's in Modern Warfare 3. So you have, it says DMZ in the bottom left, exclusion zone. You have your missions to select. How many missions are selected? It's literally DMZ on Modern Warfare 3. So whether or not that's evidence that it will be coming, or maybe it's looking at zombies. Zombies is definitely pretty much a copy and paste of DMZ, just with zombies in it, and they switch some things up. Like I usually like the analogy of like copying someone's homework and changing just enough, right? So could they have brought in? Is that just a placeholder image because they brought in a lot of DMZ stuff? But I really think we're going to be seeing DMZ in Modern Warfare 3 sometime between March and June, most likely, just because Zombies is going to be behind a paywall for the game, right? You got to purchase a game to play Zombies, if I'm not mistaken. So Warzone's free. What's your other free mode, right? It's going to have to be DMZ. And if Warzone's launching in December, Zombies doesn't have the PvP element to it, which I think is going to get a little bit boring. I mean, it'll be fun for sure, but that PvP element is just something I itch for in an extraction shooter. So I think they're going. I would bet that they're going to bring in DMZ sometime between March and June. And again, that's we're seeing the DMZ loading screen into Modern Warfare 3. So especially if they're bringing back Vandal, Resurgence, or on Rebirth, there's rumors most likely we're going to see Verdansk back at some point. So there's just so many opportunities, especially bringing DMZ into bringing it into Modern Warfare 3, integrating it, get all the Modern Warfare 3 operators and weapons. So it's just the same thing they're doing with Warzone. So it's a huge opportunity, I think, especially with where DMZ is in a beta phase still. They have a lot of issues to still iron out with that mode. If it's going to be an extraction shooter, I think they really need to ask themselves the question: is this an extraction shooter, or is this just a smaller version of Warzone? Right. So they need to do something with that. And I think once Modern Warfare 3 releases in Warzone, they already said they're going to continue to support DMZ in Modern Warfare 2, but again, it's still in beta, so they'll have 6-7 months, something. Give it a few months, iron out some things, and then I think we're going to see it just drop randomly into Modern Warfare 3. So that's kind of what that whole video was about. Again, the image is pretty clear. It is DMZ in Modern Warfare 3. So I don't think they would have that sort of screen in the files if there's not a plan if they're not messing around with it, right? So I think it's going to be there in the back end, and I don't think they're going to just drop it randomly in a couple months.
Man, I don't know. I don't know if you convinced me it's coming back. I'll worry about it.
I think we're going to see it.
I'll worry about it.
I mean, there's a good audience for DMZ though. Like, look at that's all I play, but I'm not a big YouTuber at all. And you have people like Westy, who just like Westy loves DMZ. A lot of these other guys love DMZ. There's definitely a huge player base there. And I think if they just iron out some of the issues with the game mode, it has a lot of potential, especially the rumors of it being in development for 3-4+ years, at this point when it launched. Why would they give up on it so quickly?
Yeah, it's a really interesting debate. To me, if they don't bring it back, it's going to be kind of wild that they threw all that away, because I know of a few other creators. Well, Geeksay, who's a Tarkov creator who's been on this show before, he's found a lot of success and made really awesome content in DMZ.
Geekish, right? Pardon? Yeah, I Geekish, you said?
Geeksay. Yeah, it's Geeksay. He's Canadian.
Yeah. I watch him on Twitch like almost daily playing DMZ when I'm just like working from home. I'll have him on running solos and stuff. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's definitely, it's got its following, and I think there's a good amount of player numbers there. They just gotta, are we an extraction shooter or are we mini Warzone? The
thing I worry about is they're bringing Plunder back, and the other thing I worry about is I haven't seen like a big focus on AI enemies. Like last year they focused on like having AI was in Warzone, AI was on the big battles and stuff like that. And then that was what was used in DMZ, and it felt like Warzone was kind of built around and catering to the DMZ mechanics on the fundamental gameplays, and they're getting rid of that stuff. So and they put all that time into zombies, bringing plunder back. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, and Westy had a good video coming out of COD Next. He's like, when we played it, I was like, oh, this is DMZ, just with zombies. Everything is the exact same. Your missions, your phones, everything is literally DMZ, just with zombies in there. So it really depends what they're going to do with it, because I think there definitely needs to be some changes as far as making it a more, as far as extraction shooter. Like, you look at Tarkov, Call of Duty's never going to, it shouldn't be Tarkov, all this and that, but I think like more of a limited HUD to get rid of UAVs. There's definitely some things to make it more of an extraction shooter. Like, when you get in gunfights in Tarkov, usually your heart is just like, you're freaking out. So we'll see what they do. I don't know. I'm hopeful. I think it would be it would be well received if they just dropped it in like June randomly.
Yeah.
Surprise, DMZ's back.
I can see it going both ways. I can see it doing that, or I can see zombies as the replacement for it. Like, they took all the developmental time and things they learned from that beta and just made it into zombies.
Yeah, but that's behind a paywall, right? That's not going to be free to play. And
sounds pretty Activision to me.
Yeah. What's the like, how much legs is that thing going to have? You're just killing zombies in an open world. It's definitely going to be fun for a while, right? And I think that's what makes DMZ so unique, is like, you can have the PvE experience and then there's the PvP. It just needs to be scaled down to where you're not getting hunted from UAVs and crazy crap like that. So
or they just replaced the AI soldiers with zombies and called it a day.
Well, they have in zombies, like, there is that enemy PMC faction. So you have zombies that you got to fight, and there's also
that is true. Yeah,
enemy PMCs. So it's like, it really is. They're like, okay, let's make DMZ, but we'll throw zombies in here, just and no PvP. At least add PvP at some point. I think if they add PvP, then I'll be happy. I can deal with zombies if it's PvP. Obviously.
It's going to be a really interesting situation to watch what they do with DMZ. That's why I was really wanting to hear what they had. That's super interesting.
It is. We'll see. I'm curious, when the game launches and things like that, what kind of data mines we'll get out of that. Because, like I said, it was just a one image for now, nothing else. But that's just beta stuff. So what are we going to see when the full game drops? Hopefully, we'll get a little bit more.
Yeah, because DMZ was a big focus. So
it was. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go on into probably the meat of the episode here: the Modern Warfare 3 beta reaction. I was able to play it. Buff got some more time with it, so I want to talk about it. Man, I have a whole bunch of mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, I want you to go first, because I gave my opinions last week, and you played a lot of more search. You're the search guy, which I think you look at things.
Yeah, I think so.
It's hard for me to form an opinion like with my play style and what I play. So I think you look at things. You usually bring up like criticisms, then I look at it. I'm like, yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah, that's the caveat here. My favorite thing to do is play search and destroy. So that brings up a whole different set of balancing issues. That brings up a whole different set of technical issues that I see, that I look at. And to kind of preface the conversation, if you think about it, like, if you're playing like Hardpoint or something, and you're going to get like 30 some kills and like 15 deaths or something like that in a normal match, it's like you're going to have like a couple netcode issues or something, and you're just going to respawn, like, oh, that sucks, respawn and go at it again. Well, if you're in like trying to clutch up a 1v3 situation, you get it down to 1v1 and you're in round 11 and you have like no hit reg and your game lags out and bullets don't count and you get ghost hit markers, that shit sticks with you. So
yeah.
So playing a mode like search and destroy, you get those things stick out a little bit more because the gunfights can mean a lot instead of like playing TDM where it's like, ah, shit, whatever. So I do see that. Now with the game, the time to kill, I think I like it. I like the change. It's a lot slower. I generally like that because I think it makes gunfights a little more unpredictable. Like if you get shot from somewhere you don't expect, you have the ability, and with the new faster movement coupled with this, to get out of the way, try to reposition, turn on somebody and make a play. It's not just like one of the reasons I don't really like hardcore very much is because whoever sees the other person first is gonna win. Like
Done.
that's just
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
So I like that. I think this goes a little bit too far in the direction of movement though, because not because of the movement itself. I am for search and destroy in particular. I don't think it matters. I think it's probably a good thing for respawn game modes, but the sneakers are so OP.
I was seeing
For
some debates
search.
on that on Twitter. Yeah, the stealth sneakers, and apparently what I'm hearing is that Bone Conductor headset does not counter it. You
It
still
does
can't
not.
hear anything. So that's definitely going to have to be fixed, and I think it will be fixed
And because
eventually. The bone conductor, you should be able to hear something, right? You just can't have no sound people running around.
because it was the dead silence field upgrade, but just all the time. So like if
Yeah.
on search when I would take off, it feels like your game audio is broken because I'm sprinting and I hear nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's just dead quiet. And so why that's a big deal in search to me, and why I'm probably going to get ridiculed. Oh, you're just an old boomer. You're a sentinel that likes to camp and shit. It's like, no, think about this. So I'm going to try to formulate my opinion because I have like a lot to say, but it's going to be hard to say it. That makes sense. In search and destroy, you have so many advantages if you move. You have like peeker's advantage. You have like that is just inherent of people's reflexes of netcode and ping. You have a lot of advantages that way. And if there is no penalty to moving, it makes everything unpredictable and crazy. And to me, the kills where you use tactics and positioning and kind of predict what the other team are going to do is so much more satisfying to me. I can play either way. You can sit here and talk shit in the comments and say skill issue, you're just old. No, I was running around with sneakers, taking flank routes, getting behind teams and killing over half the team just because a lot of people weren't to that level yet. They weren't to level 30. So I had the sneakers and I could do that. I could play either way. It's not a skill issue. I can do either way, but it's more satisfying to me to think about what you're doing. Like I want to move. I want this position. Do I think someone's going to be here? Well, I'm going to move. I'm going to have to move quietly, or I don't think anyone's here. I can go ahead and make some noise and get to the position I want to because I think they're going to come from this way. That play style is so much more satisfying to master because it's human versus human. I'm trying to outsmart you. I'm thinking about all these things where by the time I was done playing the beta and I had those sneakers, I was just running, like, because that's the strongest way to play. I was just running, getting behind people. I could hear people before I got to them. Like it just was really lame to have them that strong. If they're going to be that strong or close to that strong, there needs to be some big things that you lose. Maybe like you shouldn't be able to have ghosts where you can maybe counter it with everyone trying to earn UAVs or something like that. It needs to have like a bigger trade-off. It just and like I said, like promoting that kind of play style in respawn modes isn't a big deal to me. Like that's fine. But in a mode where a big part of the gameplay enjoyment for me is like readability, tactics, communications, and like trying to guess what the other team's going to do and outposition the other team, having people just randomly float around the map really just kind of kills that for me. And I don't want people to think that I just like to camp and hear people running and it's just like super sound or I'm not saying that at all. I like the depth of gameplay when you have to think about, do I want to make noise? Do I not? Do I like, I just think it's a deeper, more,
or does somebody have the counter
game
that is going to hear me, even though I have the ghost, the like stealth boots or whatever, you know, if there's no counter. But I agree. And like, I saw a lot of that on Twitter. I know Geeky Pastimes posted something about it. And like his comments were just getting like ripped apart. Like, oh, you're just a sound. You just want to sit in corners and be a sound whore. Like you're a bot, blah, blah, blah. It's just like people forget. I mean, I'm all for it, like you said, for respawn modes, whatever. But SND and those one life modes, especially Warzone, I mean, people need to go back and look at the issues. All the top creators were pissed
Yeah,
that Dead Silence was in Warzone.
this is true.
Everybody was shitting all over it for months and months and months until they nerfed it. So, people are just sucking on the Activision teat right now. And that's fun if you're playing 6v6. You get into a competitive mode like Search, Warzone, and you get killed by someone you can't friggin' hear, and no one's gonna be happy about it. So people that are saying sound horse shit, just wait till you get just annihilated by it, and then you're gonna be crying like a little girl. So it's just ridiculous to see this crap going around on X.
I am
Or Twitter, whatever.
X. I'm super glad you brought that up because I wasn't even thinking about it from Warzone, and I remember that footsteps in Verdansk in Warzone 1 were such a big deal, and people were so pissed you couldn't hear footsteps. You couldn't hear footsteps coming up to your building and stuff like that. And now
All
it's
the
just
big
like
creators. You had Dr. Disrespect, Z-Laner, Nick Merck, Swag. Everybody was shitting all over it. And now they released a trailer showing that Dead Silence is back, and everyone who's like, well, I hope there's some sort of counter and we can hear, something. And everyone's like, yo, you're a sound horror bot. It's just, shows just how dumb people are. Unfortunately.
And I mean, you can you can't really call skill issue on me if you would have watched the stream last night, because I was just shitting on everybody because they couldn't hear me. Like, I can play that way. I just don't enjoy it as much as using my brain a little bit.
And when someone gets killed like that, like the people that are supporting that and saying, calling people sound whores and bots, blah blah. I want the live feed of them just getting killed by it in Warzone or something, losing a game to that, and then see how, oh man, I'm so glad it's in the game. What a great play, guy. Great play, man. Like, it's ridiculous. Just people live in a different reality. It's insane.
And that's the thing is, I would even go so far as to say that people that want like Dead Silence and stuff constantly in Search don't know how to play the game, and they just want to be able to run around and play it like TDM and stuff like that. So it makes that an actual meta. So we'll see. And this is one of the things that's always frustrated me, and like to take like a bird's eye view of FPS gaming, why Search and Destroy will never reach its full potential, and why that game will never reach its full potential is because it needs to be pulled out and separately balanced to reach its full potential. And to make all those layers and different play styles in that richness of tactics that game mode could have, to be able to let those flourish, it's like it has to be removed, and it won't ever be. They don't need to. And it's just kind of a shame because honestly, a ranked Call of Duty Search and Destroy that's balanced for that, with some of the cheese removed, some of the things tuned for that gameplay style, would be my dream game. Like a Rainbow Six that's a little bit more accessible and not as super crazy in depth would be my dream game. And it'll probably never happen. But
well, this is the same discussion we had before Modern Warfare 2. Remember, we were like, you were looking forward to Search. I was really pumped for DMZ, and we were like, man, I hope they can make those separate from the core game features, as far as like, footsteps, limited HUD, things like that we discussed. And I agree. It's just that those modes aren't going to reach their full potential unless they pivot a little bit off the main road and make those necessary changes to allow that mode to thrive. They haven't done it yet, and I don't know why. I don't know what the answer is. The remake. You get a new COD every year. That's probably why, unfortunately. But I think, to your point, like having a separate version of Search that's in DMZ, and even with Warzone, if they could separate those from the gameplay mechanics and features slightly, balance those modes from the core multiplayer, I think that'd be better.
Yeah. And I just don't think they have to. Cannon fodder, that's a really good point. There is a default loadout with the Dead Silence sneakers and Ghost, so you don't have to level it up. So a lot of people can run it, but and yeah, it was weird. It's like, yeah, people just floating around the map. And I just have gotten used to playing Warzone and DMZ to use sound as one of the things that I think about, whether it's stopping and listening, or if it's, thinking about, hey, do I need to make noise? Do I want to make noise right now? Or do I need to move a little bit slower because someone could be close to me? rather than now it's just
Right.
like a free for all. Anybody could be anywhere, anybody could be moving fast, anybody could be sitting anywhere, and there's no readability to it. Just the lack of readability is what's frustrating to me because that's my favorite part. I get so much more satisfaction out of outsmarting someone than I
Mhm.
do just floating around behind the team and shooting him in the back.
The other
Um,
thing is like because those are sneakers, right? It's just permanent. You're not activating it. You're not activating it, so you're just it's just like an old school perk. You're just
no,
permanently
you're
dead
always,
silence.
yeah, you're always
Okay.
floating. You're just
And then
floating.
you said you couldn't hear yourself. Did you try? I know you trying the bone conductor doesn't counter it, but can you hear yourself with the bone conductor at all, or no? Just completely nothing.
Nothing. I had the bone
That's
conductor on the whole time, and now
that's that's trippy. That's
it
really
feels like
trippy.
your audio's broken. You're like, did my headset cut out? And then it's like, oh no. Then you see somebody or something. But like the first half, like running across the map, it's just nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That's
You can't hear it.
yeah, dude. That's definitely going to get a fix after launch. Look before Warzone or give it like a month, and they're because they're advertising it, so they're not gonna touch it until after the game and after they have their purchases, and then they're gonna make some adjustments to it for sure. Because especially like search is one thing, but let's be honest, Call of Duty now is the main is Warzone, and then when that stuff starts happening in search, people are gonna be very upset, right? But when it starts happening in Warzone to these larger creators than you and I, who are literally playing this stuff 24/7 on streams, and they're just getting killed from no audio, they're gonna change it 100%.
I bet people are gonna get mad. And I'd totally forgotten about that, like how mad people were that footsteps were too quiet in Warzone.
Yeah, it's funny how quick people forget about that because it was like a couple month thing where everybody was bitching about it. Videos on Twitter, everyone was talking about
That's crazy. But so anyway, that's the dead silent sneakers that are wild. And then
it. Yeah,
as far as the rest of it goes, it's just a little bit sad that it's pretty much the exact same visually as the old game. I know sometimes CODs have like visual upgrades and those are kind of fun, like when they do that. To me, it looks exactly the same. It's like the same exact engine and everything like that. And along with that is, dude, I thought the netcode was dog shit.
so bad, so bad. The netcode, desync, and like the lag, like you couldn't play Ground War without all of a sudden going to like a 2 frame per second game most of the time. So it was that's what's frustrating. It's like I like the game, but I can't sit here and tell you, give you like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I can review the game because majority of the time netcode desync is insane and it's just laggy as hell. And I ran into a stupid amount of cheaters. So I don't know.
Well,
It's hard to give a review given the state of all that.
I did see that on Twitter. I don't remember who said it or what, or I don't know how cheat websites work or something, but I saw somebody posted a screenshot of a cheat website that said, "We're here for the Modern Warfare
Free
3 beta.
weekend.
Try them for
Yeah.
free during the beta to see if
Yep.
you like our cheats." So like
Yeah.
anybody
Good
could
stuff.
like run them for free. Um,
Dude, and that's the thing is I think there's a lot of people running walls for sure. I did run into some hard aim botters that are just locking on, snapping on people, but definitely some odd cases of walls. I think you're seeing a lot, and I think people are good at trying to hide it these days. But also, they need to make it way more obvious when there's an enemy UAV up. Like remember back in the day, like the enemy calling card would pop up. So and so called in a UAV, and it's on your screen right now. I noticed that because I was Justin and I were playing last night and just let's trying to figure it out, and it's just an audio cue, just enemy UAV. It's just an audio. There's nothing visual on the screen, and you're not typically with all the combat going on. You're not hearing that. So
yeah,
I'm dying. I'm like, that dude's the biggest cheater in the world, or they had a UAV. I don't know because it doesn't tell me when there's a UAV up. That's clear.
that was happening in search. I was like, how the hell did that guy know? And then like somebody on my team would be like, they had a UAV up, and I'm like, oh shit, like I
Yeah.
didn't even know. Yeah,
I never do I know if they have a UAV. That needs to be fixed ASAP because I have no idea.
yep, that makes sense. But yeah, the netcode was so bad, and I could be convinced that the netcode in Modern Warfare 2 is just as bad. We just didn't notice it because the time to kill was overall shorter. So like
Yeah, I agree.
if you
I
miss a
agree.
bullet or two, it's not a huge deal. But in this, if like some bullets didn't count, it was really inconsistent. I feel like the time to death did not match the time to kill. Like if you died, it felt really fast. And if you killed somebody, most of the time, it felt like it took a really long time.
I
But it
noticed
was
that. Yeah,
incredibly inconsistent.
I noticed that got worse. So like last weekend, day 1 and 2 of the beta, I didn't run into that. And then when it opened up for all PlayStation, I started seeing a little bit. And then definitely this weekend, there's some good games, and then there's, I think, with a lot of the netcode and desync things like that, I saw that a lot. Like, you'll be shooting people and getting hit markers like crazy, and then you'll die instantly. And the kill cam doesn't match up to what you see at all. So they really gotta fix that. I mean, server stability for a beta, sure, you could chalk it up to that, but they definitely gotta get that stuff under control when the game launches, because that's gonna get old quick.
Yeah, I mean, you can say it's technically a beta, but a lot of that stuff for me, I notice in search in Modern Warfare 2. And for here, I just think it's exacerbated by the fact that you have such a long time to kill. You really see those netcode issues. And part of me thinks that they're not going to fix it because they don't have to. Because they're still going to make a whole bunch of money. They're still going to make a whole bunch of money on skins. People are still going to play it. There's not that much of an alternative out there. And there was a lot of netcode issues with Modern Warfare 2 that never got fixed. So,
and I think that's why I'm definitely going to be maining Warzone a lot, because like with the armor system, I think that's something that's going to at least give it a little bit of a buffer. So it's going to really increase the time to kill, slow it down. But yeah, I mean, it does feel super off. And I know last week I was talking about that Bren too, the Bren DMR, and like a lot of that was desync. So it's really hard to say like what's overpowered, what's not, given the netcode issues right now.
Yeah, and I wonder what the tick rate was for those ground war servers. It had to be so low, like the tick rate, like it with everything going on and stuff. The servers for ground war felt terrible.
So bad, yeah. And you were getting dev errors a lot too. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you ran into it when you were playing ground war. Were you getting like most of the games I played, especially last night, were just like you're running maybe less than 10 frames per second, just like everything's just like skipping, like you're playing like a 1980s like Pong game or something on the original consoles. It was just so, and it didn't correct itself. It just kept going, and I was, I was talking to people on my team. They're like, "Yeah, it's happening with us too. It's not just you." So it was weird, man. I don't know what's up with that. I only noticed that in ground war though, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was in a lot of them. And then my buddy Ham, he had a terrible memory leak. And I know people are like, well, guys, it's just a beta. I'm like, dude, it's Activision, it's Call of Duty. The game releases in like 3 weeks. So don't, it's
not gonna go. This is basically what you're getting right here.
Like it technically is a beta, but what Call of Duty does, this is more of a playtest demo for advertising and to get people to pre-order. So that's why we're being a little harder on it than it would be if it was like an indie beta. But he had a memory leak to where he would have to probably restart his game probably every 3 matches. And it was so annoying on PC. Wow. I don't know how you launched it on console, but on PC, you had to open up BNet. You had to open up Modern Warfare 2. And then you had to launch the beta from inside Modern Warfare 2, wait for Modern Warfare 2 to close, and then open the beta. So like,
wow.
So you had to launch MW2 to launch the beta, wait for MW2 to close, and then the beta to launch. And so he was having to do that like every 3 games, and it's like, let's just go play Siege. Because we figured them out. But what would happen
15 minutes when you get here.
it would be interesting to see if anybody else had this problem. But as the matches would go on, stuff would start disappearing. Like his hand models would be gone, and the gun would be floating.
Really? Oh
and
my god!
And then by like the 3rd game, the gun would disappear, and then he would get locked out at the scoreboard. And then he would like Control Alt Delete, and his RAM usage. He has 32 gigs of RAM. His RAM usage would be pegged.
Wow.
From the game, and then have to kill it and then start again. So it 100% had a memory leak for him.
Wow, that's crazy.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It'll probably be all right. I'll get some use out of it. How I see it going for me is towards the end of Modern Warfare 2, I was actually playing mostly S&D and then a little bit of Rainbow Six. I think this game is probably going to switch that for me. where I'm gonna play mostly Rainbow Six again and a little bit of S&D.
Yeah.
Things could change when Rebirth Island comes back. I have a lot of good memories on there, even some really good memories with you on there.
Yeah.
So I could see me going to play that when that launches next year. But I'm really going to keep a close eye on what they do with those sneakers, and then it will be cool for me. I did notice playing on those old maps that I never played on. There's a lot more intricacies to them than some of the more recent ones, so that's going to be something fun to learn for playing Search.
Yeah, definitely. And personally, like I'm really just looking for. I mean, I do want to get into some Search for sure this time around. With a good group, but I'm really just looking forward to Warzone, which is, people are asking me like, should we pre-order? Should we pre-order? It's like, are you going to play the multiplayer, or are you just trying to wait for Warzone? Because if you're just waiting for Warzone, just level up your guns and plunder, and wait the extra month and don't spend the money because it's going to be free to play. Because multiplayer is cool. I'll get use out of it, level up guns, blah blah blah. But with no DMZ, I'm just going to be full on ball to the wall with Warzone. That's one, and unfortunately, like with being the creator that I am, I need to have the game to do content. So
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if I weren't a content creator, I'd probably just be waiting for Warzone, just because that's where I'd be getting that's all I'll be playing most likely.
I kind of think
the game is.
I kind of think the oh, what was I gonna say? I totally lost it. Oh, the Warzone. Sorry, that never happens to me. That's the first time ever I've lost my train of thought.
Crazy.
The Warzone map looks pretty good, huh? Like, because that's what the ground war maps are based off of. I think I know Iron was really looking forward to. Like, it looked good. He thought.
Yeah, I think it looks awesome, and like we kind of talked about this in our COD Next breakdown. Is like it looks, it looks more like Verdansk as far as like more of a dense urban area. You have the open areas like we see with some of these ground war maps, but the dense like urban building fighting that you had in Verdansk is going to be there also. So that's what I think. That's a really good mix for Warzone, like having the dense urban combat and then having the areas that are more open. Like you look at Popov power plant, like that's a fairly open map with a lot of sniping lanes. But then you look at the COD Next gameplay where they're in more of the downtown areas where it's more of the urban fighting, and that's really reminiscent of like the downtown in Verdansk. So I think that's what made that map so memorable. I mean, granted, wherever the world was, COVID, blah blah blah, but like that map was a good map because it offered such a variety of combat, unlike the maps that followed it for Warzone, just like very open, not nearly as fun for a reason. So yeah, I think the new map, that's one of the reasons. Also watching like Z-Linear had a video coming out COD Next where he was like sniping and stuff too. And I was pumped, man. I watched that. I was like, yeah, with no DMZ, I am going to just no life Warzone probably.
That makes sense. Yeah, pretty mixed on my opinions of the beta.
Yeah, it's difficult to really. I mean, I like it, but I mean, like what you said, the desync network. It's hard to. It was like some points last night. It was just like unplayable, and I was getting frustrated. I'm like, I might as well just go play DMZ or something because like I can't even play Ground War right now.
Yeah, we started my Twitch stream last night, twitch.tv/crash8. We started my Twitch stream last night playing Search, where I was gonna play for a little while or for like a couple hours and then switch to Siege. We only lasted about an hour. I was like, man, I see the potential here. The longer time to kill made gunfights pretty fun in Search, pretty intense. I liked it a lot. It made sticking together really important, like working together as a team because to trade out kills and stuff. So I really like that, but it's just like the netcode was killing us, man. And the memory leaks and stuff that Ham was having, like having to wait on it, not his fault, but having to wait on him to like relaunch the game and have to like launch 2 games. Cause it would do that. It would be like the whole, you have to launch Modern Warfare 2 in BattleNet, wait for it to fetch online profile, log in, all the networking stuff. And then in that shitty UI, click on the button to launch the MW3 beta. And then that game would close, and then it would re-go through all that shit again. Well, it was like
that's
terrible.
wild. Because like for us on console, at least, it was just launch Modern Warfare 2, and then you get to the main HQ screen, and there's the the square for the beta, and then it will launch into the beta. It still took some time, but I can, the PC process sounds much more tedious.
It took quite a it takes quite a while to launch it when you have to do that like every couple games. It's
Oh
like,
yeah, I'm sure it was like 10+ minutes probably. Because even on console, like sometimes you launch the beta and it just like sits there and is loading for, like, I had to restart a couple times because it was like taking 5+ minutes and not letting me into the beta.
The other thing I guess I should really say too about my search and destroy experience is not all the gadgets were in the game. So if you
Right.
guys watch my stream also, we really like to use cameras and recon drones and play it kind of like Siege, where intel is king, like knowing where the other
Yeah.
enemy team is so strong. None of that stuff was in the game either. So there weren't really like claymores and stuff like that. I could really see those gadgets and things being a counter to the silent footstep rusher gameplay. So being able to have Betties, claymores, like trip mine type stuff, and also having cameras to watch your flanks and things like that could be some counters that weren't in the game yet for the silent footsteps, if that makes sense. So there's still,
I agree. There could be a counter. Right? We just don't know about it yet, right? Could
Yeah.
be there. But also having claymores, right? You're just gonna be like, your claymore goes off, you get a kill, and you don't hear anybody. It's like, oh, cool.
yeah, woohoo. Gotcha. I'm so good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But 16 launch maps, they're new to me. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I forgot you never played original MW2. I forgot about that. I forgot you got into gaming like later. Yeah, so that's the cool thing, is like it's a completely new experience for you, and I mean, even for me, I played these maps in 09. Like,
Yeah,
still, it's basically new to me again. Like, you remember them, but
that's a long time.
it's
Yeah,
they're still, but it's crazy because, like you said, the maps seem more intricate than the new stuff. Like, even the main gameplay we're seeing here in the trailer on what the heck is the one, Skid Row, I think it is what it is. Like, that's a good fun map. Just like the old 3-lane type system is just solid. Like, those are good maps. So it's good to see them.
That is the other thing. There is a lot of detail in these maps.
Yeah.
So I was impressed by that a little. I mean, it's not impressive from a from like an overall standpoint because they didn't have to design the maps from scratch. But it was cool to see it finished out maps. They had a lot of artwork on the walls. There was like a lot of stuff in the corners. Not stuff you're gonna get caught on while you're playing, but just like the maps felt finished. The art team had time, like I was talking about the Battlefield map, to like really make the details in the map really cool.
And they had a devlog showing kind of those improvements that they did over the originals, right? So it's not like they just one for one did. They added a lot of, like you said, intricate detail and more things that would go kind of unnoticed unless you're doing side by sides. So they definitely, not only did they take them for one, they added a lot to them, which I like.
I did learn for a stack or for a player that likes to give callouts and have good comms. Callouts on Favela is an absolute bitch.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that.
It's like
the roof.
Okay, there's like 50 of those. Like in the alley, all right, there's like 10 of those. Yeah. So that one was a challenge. That was a challenge.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. On the roof, yeah, you just like get on every roof in the game.
Yeah. On the roof, yeah, cool. Thanks for the intel. But
and odds are there's always gonna be someone on one of the roofs. It's just like, which one?
Yep. But no, it's gonna be interesting. I'm definitely gonna give it some more time when it launches. I already bought it. Yay me. So which I was going to anyway, because I will give search a really, really good try, like a really strong try. Just to see, because it takes time, right? Like you have to learn how people are going to play. You have to learn what's strong, what isn't, how to counter certain play styles, and there's all that depth to it. Before I can formulate a really good opinion, I'll need to figure all that stuff out. So that'll take some time, but I'm excited to see the maps. I get why some people are turned off by it because they're reused, but for me, it's going to be cool to check all those out and learn those and give it a little bit more time. But I really am worried about the sneakers, and I'm really worried about the net code. And I know one of those things probably isn't going to change. The shit net code is going to wear on me after a while.
Yeah, I do looking back to the original like Modern Warfare 2 with these maps, like I played a lot of search back then just because of the guys I would play with. So I do have a lot of really, really good S&D memories on these maps. So the maps played really well, at least back then. I think with the new movement and everything, like all the additions to the game, it's going to be have to wait and see. But I do have a lot of really good memories for search back in the day here with these maps. So I'm definitely excited to jump in,
You'll have to do it.
try it out. I know I'm gonna have to.
Come play with us. We have
I
fun.
will. Watch me just go off and just carry everybody. Have
I'm
like
down.
a flashback moment for one glory game, and then I'll just go back to being terrible.
Well, then skill-based matchmaking will be like, hey, whoa, 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 this guy's having too much fun. No, we can't have that.
I'm 99.999%. I have some sort of permanent shadow ban or something also, because if people who played Warzone with me and even DMZ, and if I'm the lobby host, like the lobbies we get are crazy, just nuts.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm hosting, it's ridiculous. Like, and the people from my community who play with me, they're like, dude, we can't play in your lobbies because it's just full of hackers and crazy stuff. So I think all my shit talking on Twitter, like they definitely put me in some crazy.
Yeah, they're like,
So just don't let me host.
they're like, talk your shit, Buff. Watch this when you go to play.
It's just hackers. Yeah, my lobbies are not. They're something else.
Did you see what Exclusive Ace tweeted about like using the Net Duma and like how it made his experience better? I have one.
And I gotta get one, dude. I gotta get one because that's wild.
Yeah, if you have any questions about it, hit me up because they are awesome, especially for me, where I have kind of shitty country internet. It really helps with lag and ping and getting the right servers to have the best experience.
And I think Ace is like, where is he? He's like New Zealand. He's like some Alaska, New Zealand. I don't know where he is, but yeah, he's somewhere that's like specifically where he is in his country. He's like in the middle of nowhere also. So he's just like, I'm always going to have crappy connections, but I should be getting the best connection I can get, which he's been talking about for years. So yeah, I mean, I'm curious now what kind of servers I'm connecting to also.
Yeah. The NetDuma R1 from their website really isn't too expensive.
And how do I install wall hacks?
Oh, that's going to be, I don't know. Ask Katie. She hacks. I'm just kidding. Katie's a friend of mine who plays with us all the time, and we give her a hard time. Says she cheats. Oh. Inside joke. But yeah, no. If you got any questions about the NetDuma, they're sweet. You can set up like packet prioritization, so it recognizes when you're gaming and it sends those packets ahead of everything else. So if you're gaming and streaming, it makes sure like your gaming packets have like the best connection. And then the biggest deal is like the geo filter. So you can go into a ping heat map for the game and hit ping.
Yeah, you're telling me that. That's
awesome. And it shows
you
where all the servers are and what your ping is to them. And then you go into the geo filter, you draw a circle around the server that you want, and you hit filter, and then you search for a game, and it won't connect. It won't let you connect until you connect to that server inside that range.
Good. Yeah, that's how it should be, for sure.
So basically using that, it takes me from 80, 90 ping to always having 30 ping. Which is noticeable.
Wild.
Which is noticeable
yeah,
for
definitely.
sure.
Definitely.
Because every time, and what's funny is you can watch the map and it'll show like a connection that it turns down. So you'll see it trying to connect me to like the coast, like New York or something. And I'm in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see it like trying to connect to different places. You're like, nope. Why are you doing that? And then it'll connect me to the good server. It's like skill-based matchmaking should not ever degrade anyone's ping.
No, it shouldn't. It's ridiculous. And you can see it like, I was playing with Sean here in chat and Justin the past couple of days a little bit on the streams, and you would see when it's trying to find a server, it shows like the server ping, and we were getting like super high pings before it finally found something like at a good range. But yeah, it's just wild. It tries to connect you to like 180 ping servers. It's insane.
Yep. All right. Well, that's the beta. Anything else to add other than we'll just see when the game launches if they improve that stuff?
Yeah, no, I think we covered it all. I'm definitely just like, I'm really looking forward to like all the weapons and stuff. And people talking about it being more of a DLC, whatever. Personally, me being a modern FPS guy, that's what I love. So, this is all good for me as far as just more modern weapons. Everything's coming over Modern Warfare 2. So I think I think it'll be really good in the long run. You know, I'm hopeful. So we'll wait and see what happens. It's promising. We'll wait and see. Keep an eye on it.
It has potential. Keep an eye on it. I
Yeah,
hope they fix
exactly.
netcode, and I hope they make changes to the sneakers, but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Fingers crossed.
Um, yeah. I also dream scenario: separate S&D, make it its own ranked, make it its own balance.
There you go. They do it with DMZ too. Make me happy.
Be sweet. All right. So the last thing I want to talk about, this is pretty brief. I thought we should just put a bow on this. As we've talked about it, like the whole time we've covered it, off and on as the whole long process, went on. But that is that Microsoft does now officially own Blizzard and Activision. So I don't know what that means in the near term. In the long term, if you look at it, that means Microsoft now owns, on top of everything Bethesda, on top of all its own IPs with Halo and everything, Microsoft now opens Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot, Guitar Hero, Sekiro, Prototype, Blur, Spyro, Diablo, Warcraft, Overwatch, StarCraft, Vikings, and then Candy Crush, Rebel Riders, Diamond Diaries, and Bubble Witch. So it owns massive stuff with King, Diablo, Warcraft, Overwatch, and Call of Duty is like the big one that concerns most people that would listen to this show.
Right.
So all that went through. The CMA, which is UK's agency, was the last one to okay it. What they had to do is kind of weird. Basically, Ubisoft has the streaming rights to Activision Blizzard games now. And what that means is like the gaming on demand stuff where it's like remotely rendered and you can play it on like your phone or any screen or whatever. So it'll be weird and interesting to see what Ubisoft can do with that, but they'll have the ability to host those games on Ubisoft's streaming service. Not something that's ever going to be a thing for first-person shooters, in my opinion, unless some crazy new technology comes out. But playing a first-person multiplayer shooter on like a remote streaming service with the lag and the input delay is like never going to be a thing.
No, not competitively, that's for sure.
Unless they do some kind of crazy ultra low latency communication technology, which might happen, but not in the near future. It's not really going to be a thing. But they did sign tier deals to keep Call of Duty and stuff on PlayStation and keep all the content that they have on Nintendo there, and several streaming services also, including Ubisoft. So not too much is going to change. I guess the good thing is, and it's a good thing because he seems like a real piece of shit, but the Bobby Kotick guy is going to be gone at the end of the year. So not much longer. He does get to leave with like $400 million, like $500 million in like stocks and bonuses and stuff. So so that's pretty wild. He's not going to be sad. But I think a lot of people are going to be happy he's gone. He's a weird dude. They had some kind of thing.
Yeah, man. I really wish I could just like ignore sexual harassment for years and just walk away with billions. Like, maybe I'll try that at work. Ignore it. Just sexually harass people left and right and just somehow get promoted to CEO and just walk away with billions.
Yeah,
Sounds
good
like
luck.
a good deal.
Good luck. Just an absolute delusional, weird little man. They had I saw that deal where they had a all employees conference call and they hired James Corden to interview him. Like that's how big of an ego this guy has. That thinks he needs interviewed by a Tonight Show host for an internal conference call. It's like, you're a weird dude. You're a weird little dude. So it's good.
Hey, at least they brought in somebody to be funny to do something there, like an actual comedian. Unlike Battlefield 5's Trevor Noah, just disaster nightmare.
I don't know if James Corden's any better. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. At least Trevor Noah just didn't know what he was talking about. It was embarrassing. But yeah, regardless. I digress.
It's that he didn't. It's really cringy. Like that's cringe. Like having
it is,
for an internal call. It's weird. Not like a market, like you have a captive audience of your employees and you're going to make them listen to you get interviewed by a late night show host. So weird. But yeah, I guess it's good that guy's going to be gone. I don't know if what effect that'll have on the games. I really don't know. Like everybody's wondering about Call of Duty. I know they mentioned not this year and next year. You're not going to see Call of Duty on Game Pass yet. That will be a big deal if and when that happens. If all the Call of Duties go on to Game Pass is going to be really strong and all pretty much worth the price. If you can get the new COD every year on Game Pass and play and have access to all the old ones too.
Yeah, be crazy.
for a subscription. That's gonna be pretty strong. If that does eventually happen. But other than that, it remains to be seen, and I think it'll be a few years before we see any drastic or meaningful changes with those franchises. I think they're probably going to operate business as usual at least for the next year or two.
Yeah,
won't be
and
much.
we're never not going to see Call of Duty on PlayStation. I know they signed a 2-year deal, but we talked about this before with this merger stuff when it was building. Is everyone's saying worried that Call of Duty won't be on PlayStation. Like if they made it Xbox or Microsoft exclusive at this point, you're cutting out probably more than half of your player base. And
Yeah,
Microsoft, Activision love money, and they're not going to ever do that. So that's not something. If you guys aren't on Xbox or anything, that's nothing anybody really needs to know about.
yeah. I don't think you have to worry about having access to Call of Duty. That's always going to be everywhere.
Definitely.
They're going to keep their player base as large as possible to buy those $30 skins.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody has to worry about that. There will be some exclusives though. I feel like Microsoft is going to fight Sony the way that Sony's been fighting and having, like, Sony's always had those exclusive PlayStations stuff that people like. Microsoft's going to work on the same thing. They've already done it with Starfield. There will be some of that, but Call of Duty is not going to be one of them.
Right. Even if Xbox gets the beta, the week early beta before PlayStation, it's in the grand scheme of things, it's negligible. Really doesn't mean. And plus, you look at the PlayStation exclusive skins that we've gotten for Modern Warfare 19 and Modern Warfare 2, like they're all horrible in my opinion. It's nothing that I have ever like bought or redeemed, because they're all just good. So I really don't think. And I know even with Modern Warfare 2019, I think people were Modern Warfare 2019 had like the PlayStation exclusive. There was that one mode that was exclusive for 1 year for Modern Warfare 2019 PlayStation players. I forgot what it was. It was that throwback to, it was in Modern Warfare 3, the original one. But everyone was throwing a fit about it, and literally no one, like I never played it, and no one ever played it. You never heard anything about it. It was just like the idea that it was a year exclusive, but it was not a mode that anybody played even when it came out. I can't remember what it was called.
All right. It was some kind of special zombie.
It was like It was like the survival mode, but there's no zombie. You're just survival versus just enemy AI wave. What it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, no one ever played it. So it'd be interesting to see what they do for like any Xbox exclusive deals for Call of Duty in the future. But
it could be
crazy. But I think the other IPs are probably going to be. You may see more of changes there. I think Call of Duty, as it is going to be roughly the same forever.
Yeah,
as far as what they're doing.
I just kind of hope we get away from like the exclusivity with like the early beta access and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. It being on PlayStation, like I have the benefit of like it doesn't matter to me because I get it early, but it is kind of it's just because Sony paid all that money years ago for those rights, and now that deal's.
I think that was the last year, wasn't it? This is the last year for that.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. Good. All right. I don't think I had much of anything else. Was there anything else you had to add? I don't think so.
I think we covered it. Pretty good show.
Cool. Yeah, I think that was a really good show. I hope. I kind of want to go back and listen to it to see if I made coherent arguments and points or not, but then I also kind of don't want to hear myself either. So I was rambling.
I did some rambling too, but I think the point was there with everything, and I thought everything you said made complete sense. I mean, a lot of the concerns of the beta, search and destroy.
I'll take that.
Those are definitely valid concerns that like we talked about with the dead silence. Definitely, people are going to be talking crap about it now, but when you're dying in Warzone or just in the full game to people you can't hear, people are going to change their opinion very quickly. That's something that is going to change.
Yep. Cool. Well, I guess that's an episode. We hope Blue and his family is doing okay. I think they're on the mend over there, so everything's all right. We should be back to normal next week. He just couldn't make it because of the time change. Again, that's on me. I had a work trip. I would miss a week. Didn't want to miss a week, so Buff was able to be flexible, so I appreciate that, Buff. and appreciate everyone for being here and being flexible on that. Sorry about that. Next week we will hopefully return to a normal schedule of Monday evenings, back to how it should be. And other than that, I think that's all we had. Super special thank you to everybody being here and everyone downloading it. The audio version has been growing. We crossed over 5,000 downloads this week, averaging almost 200 downloads per week. So that's super awesome. There's almost more people listening to it than watching it now, which is super crazy, and I'm super thankful for. So all the audio listeners, thank you guys so much. Everyone, if you do want to support the show, hang on to your wallets, keep that in your pocket, and just be a friend. Tell a friend, and let's keep growing. Thank you guys so much. Buff, thank you, and we'll see you guys in a little over a week.
Take care, guys.